While we can understand why severe avoidants behave the way they do, we know it comes from unhealed attachment wounds. It comes from deep insecurities. It comes from emotional neglect as a child. That doesn't negate the fact that severe avoidant behavior is still a choice. This person has a choice. Nobody is forcing them to behave this way. Nobody is forcing them to discard a partner out of the blue. Nobody is forcing them to slowly fade away, giving no answers, no closure, and just disappearing out of sight. Nobody is forcing them to ghost you. Nobody is forcing them to gaslight you. Nobody is forcing them to cheat on you. Nobody is forcing them to stonewall you. These behaviors are completely their choice. They have a basket of options in front of them. They could choose to communicate. They could choose to do therapy. They could choose to engage in the relationship. But they reached into that basket and they pulled out these choices. They pulled out these toxic choices. Yes, it can be motivated by their own insecurities, their own attachment wounds. But it is also motivated by choices, by selfish choices. Because when the avoidant is triggered, when they behave in this manner, they are so hyper-focused on their own perceived fears, wants, and needs that they are not even considering the impact that this has on their partner when they do things like discard, when they do things like gaslight, pull away, ghost. They're not considering the impact. They are solely wrapped up in themselves. But there is nothing that you did that can force this person to behave this way. Stop blaming yourself. Stop blaming yourself for being too needy, too pushy, too open, too available. You are not responsible for this person's unhealed attachment wounds, and you are certainly not responsible for their behavior. They have chosen to behave this way. It is a choice. And it's also a reflection on their character, because they had that option to do something else, but they chose to behave this way. You didn't force them. So stop blaming yourself for the other person's behavior. When you take personal responsibility for somebody else's toxic behavior, for their emotionally unavailable behavior, you are trying to control the uncontrollable, and you're pushing yourself further into anxiety, and you're making the healing process so much harder on yourself. So do yourself an act of compassion. Take a step back. Recognize that this person's behavior is not your fault. Stop blaming yourself. Recognize it for what it is: toxicity, selfishness, emotional unavailability. And be kind to yourself, because this person had a choice and they chose to treat you this way.